Hey there, Cinemaster fans! Hope you're ready for some movie magic. Let's dive right in. Our movie begins with Clint, who works in the construction field. He sends voice messages to his wife Joanna, telling her they should go out together today and that he will be home soon so they can have lunch together. But we see that Joanna is annoyed by this and doesn't want to go out with him. Joanna then goes outside to receive a letter that arrived in the mail, and their dog keeps barking, which annoys her even more. Clint, on his way home, is stopped by a police car. It turns out the officer is his friend, and he suggests they go fishing together. Clint agrees but says he will confirm later if he doesn't go out with Joanna. When Clint gets home, he lets the dog out of its cage and asks Joanna if she listened to the voice message he sent about going out. She replies that she did, but has a doctor's appointment at 2 and plans to visit her friend Maggie afterwards, so she's not free today. Clint tells her that in that case, he'll go fishing with Officer Sam instead. It becomes clear that Joanna is unhappy seeing Clint. He tells her that someone offered him $500,000 to buy one of his projects, but he refused because he doesn't want to leave the city. Joanna dismissively says they already have plenty of money, but expresses her frustration with living in the countryside and wanting to return to New York. Clint explains that he built their home in the countryside for her and their future children to grow up in a clean, healthy environment. Joanna reveals that she's been trying to get pregnant for 1.5 years without success and feels trapped in the countryside like a caged rat. Clint tries to console her, saying at least they have each other, but Joanna coldly tells him to enjoy it alone and walks away. Clint later goes fishing with Sam and shares his marital troubles, saying Joanna hasn't changed since they got married. Meanwhile, Joanna visits her doctor Cortland, who promises to open a clinic in her name and make her as famous as a movie star. He tells her they will live in unimaginable luxury and assures her that the money for the clinic will be easy to obtain. When Joanna asks how, Cortland reveals a vial of toxic fish venom that can stop Clint's heart quickly, making it look like a natural heart attack. He instructs her to put it in Clint's food or drink, and the venom will do the rest. He explains that after Clint's death, she will inherit his company and assets, which they can sell. Joanna laughs, surprised at how simple the crime sounds, but later hesitates and confesses her fears to Cortland. He tries to convince her, but she remains undecided. When Joanna returns home, she throws the poison vial into the trash. That night, Clint returns from fishing. The next day, Joanna prepares lunch for Clint, who tells her he will be working in the workshop. While Clint is cutting wood with a saw, making noise that bothers Joanna, she looks at the trash can containing the poison and reconsiders. She retrieves the vial and pours its contents into a glass of wine. When Clint comes in, he takes both glasses to the table. Joanna watches anxiously, unsure which glass contains the poison. As Clint drinks, symptoms begin to appear. He collapses, writhing in pain, and pleads for her help, but Joanna coldly tells him to die and free her from him. Clint dies, and Joanna calls Cortland to inform him of her success. Cortland congratulates her and advises her to call the doctor and police, promising to handle the situation from his side. Officer Sam arrives, suspicious that a young man like Clint could die of a heart attack. 2 doctors, including Cortland, examine Clint's body. Cortland dismisses Sam's concerns, saying sudden heart attacks in young people aren't uncommon. However, Sam notices the poison vial on the floor and grows suspicious. He suggests an autopsy, but both doctors discourage it, claiming the cause of death is obvious. Later, Clint's body is taken to the morgue. In the cold storage, we see Clint's body begin to move slightly. It turns out the venom's effects have worn off. Clint wasn't buried in an expensive coffin, as Joanna had opted for the cheapest option. This allows Clint to break out of the weak coffin and claw his way out of the grave. Clint returns home, still weak, and spies on Joanna and Cortland celebrating their crime. He hides, waiting for the right moment to confront them. Meanwhile, Joanna meets with a lawyer to discuss selling Clint's company for $1.5 million and transferring the money to her account. Clint, now fully awake and determined, prepares to confront his unfaithful wife and her lover, and he went in to drink because he was dying of thirst. He opened the fridge and ate everything that was there. He looked out the window and saw his wife arriving. So, he went back to the basement, grabbed the rifle and bullets, but the bullets fell. He bent down to pick them up, still feeling weak, and loaded the rifle with the bullets he found. He left the basement, determined to kill Joanna. But Officer Sam arrived, so he decided to hide. Sam came to check on her, asking if she needed anything, and started telling her about Clint. He told her that Clint built this house with his own hands and started from scratch. He then asked, "I heard you're putting the house up for sale?" She replied, "Yes, it's too big for me now, and I can't live here alone anymore." He asked if she was also considering selling his company, and she said, "Yes, because I don't understand that kind of work." Joanna appeared tense from Sam's questions, and she became suspicious when she noticed someone had eaten from the fridge. At that moment, Cortland also arrived and pretended in front of Officer Sam that he was Joanna's doctor. Sam greeted them and left. Joanna and Cortland entered the house. Clint noticed he had only loaded one bullet into the rifle, so he went back to the basement to get another bullet and finish them off. Joanna told Cortland that Sam had asked many questions and seemed suspicious of them. She said, "We must sell everything quickly." Cortland replied, "There's no need to rush. You'll have all the money tomorrow." Clint climbed the stairs to kill them but overheard Cortland telling Joanna, "You'll finally be pregnant with my child." It turned out Joanna had been secretly taking birth control pills to avoid having children with Clint. Clint became very angry after hearing this and decided not to kill them with the rifle, as it would be too easy and quick. He waited until Joanna fell asleep that night, grabbed scissors, went to the bathroom, treated and bandaged his hand, and prepared himself. Later, the buyers for Clint's company arrived. They showed Joanna the money they were offering for the company. She couldn't believe it and was overjoyed after they left with the money. Officer Sam learned in the street that Clint's body was missing and no one knew what had happened. He said he wanted the coffin brought to his house in secret, promising to investigate discreetly. Joanna entered the bathroom, found it in disarray, and couldn't understand what had happened. Terrified, she thought there was a burglar in the house. She sent Cortland a voice message, asking him to come immediately. She went downstairs with a stick and found the dog barking at her. She thought the dog was the one in the bathroom. The dog kept barking, and Joanna became more frightened. She vomited, then retrieved the rifle from the basement and loaded it. Suddenly, Clint appeared, and Joanna shot him, shocked and fainting afterward. The door shut behind her. Later, it was revealed Clint wasn't harmed by the bullets. He barricaded all entrances and exits to the basement with wood. Cortland was seen elsewhere, receiving a voice message, one from his landlord threatening to call the police over unpaid rent. It turned out his real name wasn't Cortland but Van Ewan. After hearing Joanna's message, he rushed to her house carrying a syringe containing poison. He searched for her, found the bag of money and took it. Joanna regained consciousness, heard him calling for her, and attacked him, knocking him unconscious and taking the bag. She initially thought Cortland had locked her in the basement to steal the money. As she climbed the stairs, she encountered Clint wearing a mask. He locked the door, and she realized Cortland wasn't the one terrorizing her. When Cortland regained consciousness, she apologized and explained about the stranger who had trapped them. She said, "I'm certain I shot him, but nothing happened." Cortland asked if she had told anyone about the money. She replied, "No, I thought it was you who locked me up at first." He said, "Joanna, how could I lock you up? I love you. I'd burn all this money for you." She believed him and hugged him. Cortland then ran upstairs, grabbed the rifle, loaded it, and shot at the door handle, but nothing happened. The bullets were revealed to be fake, replaced with weak material. That's why Clint wasn't harmed when Joanna shot him. Cortland declared he wouldn't give up. He tried breaking the wooden barriers blocking the air vents, but when he succeeded, he found the dog staring at him and retreated in fear. Clint had altered the house entirely, his eyes filled with hatred and vengeance. By morning, Joanna and Cortland had been trapped for about 8 hours. Cortland speculated, "The only person who could have done this is Officer Sam. He won't stop unless he gets a share of the money, or all of it. But I won't let him. I'll kill him, and we'll see who wins in the end." Joanna noticed the syringe containing poison on the floor and hid it. She challenged Cortland, "Burn the money if you really love me." Cortland was shocked and said, "You're crazy. This money is our only way out." She asked, "Are you willing to die for me?" He said, "Of course." She pulled out the syringe and said, "Let me kill you with this because you've been using me all along to get the money." Cortland admitted, "Honestly, what clinic was I going to open for you anyway?" Joanna attacked him with the syringe, but he overpowered her and was about to kill her when the basement door opened. They decided to save the syringe for whoever had trapped them. They argued about who would go out first. When they exited, they found the house completely changed. Clint had blocked them in with wooden barriers again, leaving them trapped. They searched for a way out but couldn't find one. They came across a wooden door, opened it, and found themselves in a maze-like area. Meanwhile, Officer Sam was thinking about Clint's body. He examined the coffin and found it broken. He tested the coffin, hitting it from the outside and inside. And we go back home, and Joanna and Cortland started hinting to each other about the idea of killing Clint. Suddenly, another door appeared and separated them. Cortland saw a shadow in front of him, thinking it was Sam. He said to him, "We can split the money from the bag." Clint wasn't responding. So, Cortland approached him with the syringe in his hand, saying, "Fine, you can have all the money." Clint revealed himself and showed his face, which shocked Cortland, causing him to fall, and the syringe accidentally entered him. He stayed alive for an hour before dying, and we got rid of him. Meanwhile, a door opened in front of Joanna and behind her. Clint appeared wearing a mask, so she started running until Clint cornered her from all directions, making her feel like she was in a coffin. She asked the person trapping her, "Why are you doing this to me?" Clint replied, "I've trapped you like a rat in a cage." At that moment, Joanna realized it was Clint. He asked her, "The baby you aborted, was it a boy or a girl?" Then he threw Cortland's corpse at her and nailed their coffin shut, poured gasoline everywhere, and set the house on fire. After that, Clint left with his loyal dog. There was a big box in the bag. Sam arrived at the house and saw it burning. The ambulance came and put out the fire, telling Sam that there was no one inside. Sam went to Clint's grave and found him standing there, petting his puppy. They talked, and Sam understood what had happened. He told Clint, "Don't show up here again so no one knows you killed them." Clint agreed, left, and walked away. It turned out Clint had buried Joanna alive with the money and Cortland's body. And with that, we've reached the end of the episode. Stay tuned for the upcoming episodes,